Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm here for the match review of AC Milan against Torino in the round of 16 of the Coppa Italia. Match I finished moments ago at the San Siro, where AC Milan won 2-1 with goals coming in from Kucka and Bonaventura, and Belotti scored the goal for Torino. A performance of two halves really for Milan today. In the first half, we had a lot of trouble playing against the Granata. They came out strong in those opening 10 to 15 minutes, really creating the most of the chances in those opening instances. And they were really pressuring us hard, creating, like I said, lots of chances. And finally, they broke through with a goal, and it came through Belotti. Really, Donnarumma couldn't do much about that goal. But in general, Torino, they had that goal coming for them. It was gonna come sooner or later. I just saw from the first moments the way that they were playing were putting Milan really in a lot of difficulties. And even though Milan had a slight reaction after that goal scored by Torino in the first half, they really weren't capable of threatening Joe Hart's net. Torino was closing down very well. They were playing a very good game by themselves. They were solid enough to keep away Milan from their net. And that's pretty much the result that stood at halftime. 1-0 to Torino through Belotti. The second half was a whole different story. Really, Milan came out strong, and I said it in the first half of the watch along. I said that, Milan always seemed to be that team that reacts to losing results. They were losing against Torino, they came out strong, and they really had a positive second half to that game, scoring 2 goals in the span of 3 to 4 minutes through Kucka and Bonaventura. Once again, when the players had to come out, they came out just right. Suso and Bonaventura worked really hard for the team. They brought him back up on their feet. Suso with a beautiful delivery on Bonaventura's volley goal, and Kucka with a nice tap-in from Bonaventura's low pass. Bonaventura being involved in both goals could possibly be the man of the match for me today. Lots of good performances from other players such as Suso, the rest of the defense, where I think really showed that they're capable of once again holding that wall nice and strong for Milan to build in the second part of the season. But overall, it was just a great showing from Milan altogether. I'm happy that Milan came out, responded well, got the win in the end, even though we did have some difficulties. We didn't have all our starters today. We saw, a very good Torino team coming to the San Siro. Their midfield was better than ours. Their forwards were good as well with Iturbe, Laic, and Belotti. They had a very strong team going for them, yet we were capable of coming back to our senses. We used our minds, we used our skills together, and we came out with a very big result that pretty much puts us in the quarterfinal against Juventus in the Coppa Italia. That game will be taking place on January 25th. Now, like I said before, the player performances were quite good in general, but I did want to make certain highlights on certain players because, throughout the watch along, I did speak about some of them. But, for example, Gustavo Gomez, I think I spoke a bit too negatively about him, especially in that first half. The second half was way better for Gustavo Gomez. I think that he had a very good match today. He was solid. He's a very good backup to have for Romagnoli and Paletta, and that's exactly what I was mentioning before. It's good that we have a guy like Gustavo Gomez. Maybe he's not the best option out there as a backup, but for what we have at the moment, I think he's a very good backup to Paletta and Romagnoli. He did start a bit slow in this game. Certain times he was lost. He didn't really have that sense of positioning. But moving on into the match, he showed what a great defender he is. He did very well to defend. He did very well to go into certain challenges where it could have been 50-50s. At the end, he was the winner of those challenges. So I was really impressed from Gustavo Gomez's play. I'm sure a lot of you guys are also asking me how do I think that Jose Sosa and Bertolacci played. I think that Jose Sosa, like Gustavo Gomez, had a slow start to the game, but as the game improved or moved on, he improved his performance. I think that a lot of times he was getting a lot of stick from fans. And yes, he didn't have the best of performances, but let's keep in mind this is a guy that doesn't play on a regular basis. And I'm not here to defend the guy or anything, but I simply think he played a decent match. He was involved in ball movement. Definitely a better second half for all of the players. The ball movement was way better, and it came from the midfield. At halftime, people, and including myself, were saying, you could definitely see the lack of midfield. You could see that we don't have Locatelli playing in that position today. You could see that there's problems. But those problems, I don't want to say that they went away in that second half, because they didn't. But those problems were pretty much ameliorated or fixed in some way or another in that second half. Speaking about Bertolacci, I think he's becoming an important piece for Montella. Now, many people don't want to hear that, and I completely understand. They don't think that Bertolacci is up to par to certain other players in the Serie A, and definitely not up to par to the price tag that we paid for him, 20 million. And I completely agree with you guys on that. But he's definitely becoming more and more of a piece for Montella to use, and I think he's going to be getting a lot more playing time in the Serie A. I think he's better off playing as a left mid than anything else. So what I want to see is probably him playing as a left mid, Locatelli being that center mid, and Bonaventura being the left wing. I think some sort of partnership between Bonaventura and Bertolacci could form like that. Once again, we saw it today. Bonaventura, he took Niang's position, doesn't usually play as a left winger, but he was replacing Niang again today, and we saw what he could do. Really, I said it many times, lots of you guys want to see him as a midfielder, but I personally said that as a winger, Bonaventura could definitely show what he's made up of. And today he provided an assist, scored a goal, and as I said in the watch along, it's his 5th time that he does just that for Milan in his career. So I'm pretty happy with what I've seen from Bonaventura. I'm happy that Bertolacci could sort of start to link up with him in one way or another. But eventually, I'm predicting that Montella will be using Bertolacci more and more in the Serie A. I think he's going to become a special piece for him. As for the right side, we're probably going to have to see a rotation between Kucka and Pasalic. Pasalic obviously also capable of playing on the left, but I think it's pretty much settled as far as the positions goes. For those of you that still have doubts over the midfield, I'm personally predicting that Montella's his piece is set for the moment. On the right side, we'll see Kucka and Pasalic. In the middle, we'll see a rotation between Locatelli, Jose Sosa, and Bertolacci. And on the left side, we're possibly going to be seeing either Bertolacci or Bonaventura playing. That's, of course, when Niang plays as a winger. But that, to me, is pretty much Montella making up his mind on who's going to be playing in the midfield. And I think his solutions are quite good as to what we have to our disposal, When looking at the players that we have at our disposals, we see many players that could potentially be on the bench but could also start games. So, I'm happy that these players are improving. I'm happy that Montella really has put the winning mentality on these players. And we're seeing lots of changes every week. We're seeing a Milan that's full of winning momentum. In recent years, a game like today, we probably would have been ending up on the losing side. We probably would have lost this match, being honest with you guys. We wouldn't have made a comeback. But today, we showed what strong mentality and strong character really means to this team, and we've proven it once again. The only weak point that I really have to talk about today is, unfortunately, Lapadula. I think Lapadula is a great striker. He always shows up to play. He has a lot of will. He has a lot of potential to do well. Unfortunately, today, it wasn't a game for him. He did try to find spaces. He had his chances. He had a very good chance at the end when he got past Joe Hart. He actually had made a great run to stay on side. He got past Joe Hart, but unfortunately, he found the feet of Moretti right on the goal line. And yes, maybe Baca would have put that away. Maybe he wouldn't have. The point is that I think Lapadula is going to have an off game, that's for sure. But I still see how he comes up as a new entirely fresh player, even though he's played the full game. If you guys take a look at him, when it comes to the 85th minute or 98th minute, this guy becomes an absolute beast. He gets and creates those goal-scoring chances. And many people are still going to be asking me up until this day, do I think that Bacca or Lapadula should get the start? Like I've said, I would go with Bacca getting the start and Lapadula coming on whenever they need him. Especially in the second half, especially in those last 10 to 15 minutes where he's proven to be lethal as anything. And the guy is capable of scoring goals. Today, it didn't go his way, but I know that he's capable of doing well. Unfortunately for me, today, he was possibly the worst player. I wouldn't say the worst player, but the weakest player when it came to finishing chances. But I'm pretty sure that this is a one-off game, and he's going to have better games in the near future. That's pretty much my match review, guys. I want to know now what you guys thought about the game. Were you happy to see that Milan got on the winning side? Are you happy that we're going to be facing Juventus for a third time this season, as we're going to be playing them on January 25th in the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia? I also want to take this opportunity to tell you guys that you could call in on Skype like we have done on past match reviews to voice your opinion. The Skype username to call is Rossoneri TV altogether. I will be answering some calls as soon as they come in. So if you guys are interested in voicing your opinion and telling me all about your opinions on the game, what you thought in general, how do you think a specific player played in your regard, this is the time to do it. And we're already getting a call from Mr. Jeffrey Wittig, so we're going to be answering that call right now. Let me just set up the Skype thing. Alright, let's see if he can pick up and hear us. Come in. So if you guys Hi Jeffrey, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm much better than halftime.
Yeah, definitely a much better result than halftime there. What did you make of Milan's reaction today? You know, 2 goals in a matter of 3-4 minutes. I personally wasn't expecting it, but you did mention at halftime, and I'm going to recall it to the listeners and the watchers today. You did say that if we don't score in the 15 to 20 minutes, in that opening 20 minutes of the second half, we pretty much won't be getting anything done. That's exactly what we did. What did you make of that reaction?
We're a second half team, and we pretty much have been proven that this whole season. We have to come out and start playing much better in the first half. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we definitely have to be more consistent. Like, I've said this on the watch-along as well. For some reason, it appears to be that we're always a second-half team, and we're always waiting for an event to happen before, you know, we react to it. And what is with that? Like, why do we always have to be that type of team? Why can't we just set our own tone, our own pace, or everything at the beginning of the game? And, you know, dictate the game as we would normally do in the second half. What do you make of that? Do you see that as a mental lapse for Milan that they still have to work on? Maybe that sort of behavior that we've been, you know, suffering from in recent years? What do you make of all of this?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely something that we have developed over the last 5 years from not really doing anything. It also, it's probably because we have a lack of a leader. Who's, besides our captain, not Bertolletti, Abate, who else is there to be a leader? You look at Real Madrid. How many leaders do they have on the field?
Yep.
They have multiple leaders, not in just defense, but in attack, in the midfield, on the bench. You look at them and you see leaders across the board. You don't have to have leaders in every position. You need about 2 or 3 on the field. The manager needs to have, he doesn't have to give, you know, the commands. The players should have to know, so like, hey, you're not doing your job. You need to start doing your job. If you're not starting doing the job, I'm telling the manager to take you off. That's what we need.
Yeah, I mean, by leadership, I think I completely agree with you. Yes, we do have Abate. Montolivo apparently gives us the leadership, according to some people. I still don't see it in the games. But yeah, besides Abate, maybe Donnarumma too. I think he definitely proves his leadership when it comes to the defense. He definitely, you know, he's always there to motivate them, to tell them what to do, and so forth. I just don't see as we have that many leaders, and I do agree with your point there. We need more of that. We need more people that could come out and not only give motivation to the team, but help the team in general when in times of difficulties. And yes, we do have guys like Suso, Bonaventura that know how to deal with these situations. They always help us out getting out of them. But do you mean like more of a vocal leadership? Is that what we need, or even playing wise?
I think we kind of need both. We definitely need a vocal leader in the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see. I see today our midfield was a mess. I don't know who was trying to do what, but I mean we were all over the place. They got through it. They got it through our midfield too easily. We also need someone who can perform better in our midfield. I mean, yes, Bertolacci's just coming off of an injury. Yes, Locatelli, he's young, so he's got to learn. He's going to grow with more experience. You got Kucka. He should be the leader.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing the whole year. He's, 30 or something like that. He's got to tell the midfield, hey, you got to keep your shape. We got to shut them down and don't let so many easy runs in the first half. I can't count how many easy times that I could get through the midfield.
Yeah, and the first half was absolutely awful. Like you said there, in the opening, maybe even up until leading that goal, and even after that, so many open spaces. The midfield was inexistent. It really resembled as to one of those midfields that we would see in previous years, like just way too many spaces, not being or playing close to the defense. But like you said there, I think what we really need is a vocal leader in every department. One for the goalkeeper, obviously Donnarumma is a leader for that. We need one in the defense, being Abate. In the midfield, yeah, Montolivo maybe, but for now, Kucka should be that leader.
Yes.
And up front, we need one too. I think if we get one for each department, I think that is exactly the mindset that we need to go for.
I agree. I just don't know if Montolivo is that leader we need in midfield. And in the attack, shouldn't it be Baca being the leader? He's our striker. He's the guy we paid $30 million to give us 20 goals a season. You got to be, if you're paying that much, you got to be the leader. You can't be 1 minute like I ain't doing nothing. The next minute I'm open. You got to be in the game 100%. Yes, you can take off a few minutes every now and then. I'm not blaming you for if you do that, but you got to be in the game all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for calling in.
All right,
take care.
You have a good day now.
You too, man. All right, we are getting lots of calls. Lots of you guys want to speak on Rossoneri TV. So I'm going to go in with the next caller, Pasquale. He talked to us at halftime. It is a first come, first serve basis, guys. So if I don't answer right away, just keep on trying, because there are a lot of callers. A lot of people want to voice their opinion on Rossoneri TV. So just keep trying if you don't get through right away.
All the time.
Hi, Pasquale. How you doing, man?
I'm good, Gio. How are you?
Much better now, I guess.
Yeah, but relief is I think the key word.
Yeah, definitely. Once again, positive second half, not so much of a good first half like we were talking about before. What did you see in this team really that changed their mentality? Like, how did we just score 2 goals in the matter of 3-4 minutes, and then for the first half we couldn't even manage to get anything done against Torino?
Well, I think at half-time it was quite evident that Milan came out of the gates firing. Montella has definitely, in the change rooms at half-time, has said something to the team to fire them up and to make them go out and play with a lot more aggression.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's quite obvious that both our goals came just from having that extra fighting quality in midfield. I feel that both goals were created just simply out of the fighting spirit that is something that we were hoping to see and that was lacking in the first half. They just had no fire in the first half, and they just came out of the gates firing. You saw Kucka come out and was winning the balls in the 50-50 challenges, which created a goal out of that. And Suso, my word, what a player! He is seriously something we need to keep him and hang on to him at all costs, because that individual brilliance to cut through 3-4 players in behind the midfield and to create that goal scoring opportunity was just incredible to see, and kudos to Montella for saying the correct thing at halftime, because clearly it worked. And once we got the 2 goals, we were just sort of able to take the foot off the gas, so to speak, and let the tactics kick in, and it proved to be enough.
Yeah, definitely. What a brilliant player Suso is. Someone was even saying, like, is this guy ever gonna get tired this season? And it's been like 2-3. He's gonna get weeks where he's gonna play 2 or 3 games, and he's just a fundamental piece of this Milan side. Like, I just can't see Milan doing without him. Like I was saying before, whenever we're in difficulty, we need to get out of a situation, a hard situation. The guy somehow sparks up the team, gets past 2 or 3 players, and somehow works his magic and gets it done. Really, one of the most underrated players, I think, in Europe, along with Bonaventura. These are very underrated players that if you go speak in other leagues, they probably don't even know who they are, It kind of upsets me, but these guys always make the difference for Milan, and I'm really happy to see that. Any final thoughts, Pasquale, on today's performance?
Yeah, well, you were talking just a moment ago about leadership in the Milan team and how you feel that it might be lacking in certain areas. Just my thought on that.
Sure.
Being a soccer player myself, and I'm sure there's a few of your viewers that are soccer players as well, normally when you're playing in a team, leadership comes from, I feel, normally more to the middle of the park and towards the back. So you're looking at your goalkeeper, your central defenders. Sometimes you're looking at your wing backs if you're playing more of a flat defensive line. So you're looking at players like, in this situation, Abate, and I guess to a lesser extent Montolivo, as you were saying, because he's more of a defensive midfielder. He does a lot of the talking for the midfield. Now, looking at the game today and looking at the vision that was available, Paletta did a lot of talking. Because Gustavo Gomez is more of a fill-in for this team, even though he did an exceptional job. Paletta, I felt, did a lot of the leading from the back, and Abate obviously is a great communicator. And you were talking about Kucka. He seems to be more of the hard-working type and sort of, my actions speak louder than my words kind of player. And I think once Kucka sort of started to win the challenges, the rest of the midfield realised, well, hang on, he's sort of onto something here. This is an example we need to sort of follow. And that's when I think the 2 goals came. But the point is made, though. Leadership needs to come from all over the field. I agree. And I think, believe it or not, I actually think another source of that leadership is coming from Bonaventura as well. He chooses the right times to attack, which is quite important because you don't want to give away that possession too quickly. And I think in the second half he did that quite well. He chose the right moments to attack and when to turn back and to pass. And I think that was important.
Yeah, I really like what you said there about Kucka, more actions than words, but I could definitely agree with you, the leadership doesn't always have to be coming from the voice, vocal leadership. Like you said there with Kucka and Bonaventura, definitely the playing type of leadership that they're demonstrating every game is another sort of leadership that they're proving to at least, demonstrate to the rest of the teammates or kind of impose that...
Correct.
That
yes.
style of play, right? So, yeah, I definitely agree with what you said there with Kucka. It doesn't always have to be vocal. It could also
only takes one moment. It only takes one moment in the game where a player will make a clinical tackle and it can swing the momentum. And that's something I felt that Kucka and Bonaventura did quite well. They just swung that momentum and were keen to win the ball.
Definitely, Pasquale. All right, thank you so much for calling in, man.
No problem. Anytime.
All right, take care.
Cheers.
All right, you heard it there from Pasquale, guys. So whoever wants to talk next, make sure to call me fast because I will be taking the next call. Now I know Viva Loca wanted to call me. He wanted to speak about Montella. So let's see if he answers. Hi, Matt. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, you're live on Rossoneri TV. What did you want to talk about?
I want to say first of all that I want to praise Montella.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want to praise Montella for not only his selection, but also because of his team talk. I think the second half of Milan was much better than the first half, and I want to say that when I saw Jose Sosa as the regista before the match, I thought he would be kicked back to Turkey by Torino because he has not been playing very well this season. But I thought this was his best game, absolutely. Not that he was playing perfect or anything, but his distribution was quite decent.
Yeah.
His defensive play could have been better. He was not running as well as Locatelli has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say also that look at the difference between Niang playing and Niang not playing.
Mm-hmm.
If you see at the top strikers with Bonaventura on the left side, you can see the flow, you can see the passing, you can see not the selfishness of Niang when he's playing on top at the left wing. You can also argue that Niang is very explosive in his movement and has great movement, but he lacks that passing ability. He lacks that decision making. And I also want to speak about leadership. I want to agree with Pasquale and also say that when I saw Abate giving the captainship to the vice captain De Sciglio, it always hurts my heart because I don't see De Sciglio as captain worthy. I don't see him being verbally the captain material. In my opinion, it should have been Bonaventura as the vice captain, or maybe even Paletta, because Paletta he's like Maldini, just bald. He's bald Maldini.
Yeah, and I was definitely
In my
gonna,
opinion.
suggest Paleta. You know, when you mentioned about the vice captain, I was gonna say I think Paleta should definitely get the chance over De Sciglio. But getting back on your points, I fully agree on what you were saying there with Niang and Bonaventura. And certain people still tell me maybe Bonaventura should stay as a left mid, but as a winger, I don't know, man. I see like he has that influence on the team in general. Whenever we're moving forward, like the guy does everything. He has a vision. He's not selfish, like you were saying. He's capable of assisting, scoring goals. He's capable of doing much better. And I did notice this difference. Every time Niang doesn't play, for some reason, we actually do well. Now, getting back to the leadership thing, I fully agree on that as well. I think the team in general, we need, like you said, vocal leaders, but also like Pasquale was mentioning before, guys on the field that could, you know, just have a positive influence on others by the way that they're playing. Like, if they're doing good, it gives them a motivation, you know?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, lead by example, as they say.
Exactly.
And I think Bonaventura, as you also said, he deserves to be as the left winger. He that is his place on the field.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, totally
And
agree with that.
I think that we need reinforcements in the midfield, because even though Jose Sosa he played a decent match, Bertolacci also and Kucka, we definitely need reinforcements in that midfield.
Yeah, definitely agree. We cannot do without some strong midfielders coming in. Maybe, I'm not too sure about us getting anyone this January, but in the summer, it definitely should be on the top of our list.
No, we are poor as Chinese farmers.
All right, man. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. So you're there from Viva Loca. Pretty sure there's some other people that wanted to call in, but I'm just gonna wait until I get a call from them. Getting into your comments now. I'm reading certain comments here from Casey. He says Milan's captain system goes off of seniority. That's why Abate and De Scio shared the armband. I guess it goes off seniority, but it's still not a criteria that I would base my decisions on who should be captain and who shouldn't be captain at Milan. If the guy deserves it, even if he's playing, if he's been playing 2 or 3 seasons at Milan and he deserves it, if the guy's a better leader than someone else, it doesn't mean just because the guy's been playing at your club for God knows how long, he deserves to be captain. Really, what captain attributes does he bring to the team? When looking at attributes, I want to see people that are going to be leaders. They're going to be vocal leaders, or, they're going to be telling the team. They're going to motivate the team. De Scio's not one of those guys. Unfortunately, he's not one of those guys. Yes, he's good defensively, not so good offensively, but he's not a leader. He's not a leader. Paletta is a leader. He's the type of player that I would personally give a captain armband to. One Direction, that's a funny name. In my opinion, a good left wing, but he's a good left winger. He's speaking about Bonaventura. But I liked how he was playing in the midfield after he adjusted to it. If we had a better left winger than Yang and Bon in the midfield, we'd be more dangerous. Yes, on that regard, I could agree. If we had a better left winger than Yang, but we don't. And the only left winger that could really replace him and do well is Bonaventura. Like, the guy, every time he plays as a left winger, we are pretty much, we're pretty much safe that we're going to get a result one way or another. As a mid, and Yang's playing there, I'm not too convinced. Now, Sultan Menzuma says, as much as I like Suso, I hate the fact that we rely on him for most of our creativity. The day Suso gets injured is when we crumble in the creativity department, and I completely agree with you for the creativity department, because Suso's a guy that, they're really focusing on. Every time we have an attack or we're moving towards an attack, we tend to base our passes towards Suso because he's the creator. He's the leader in the creativity department. And unfortunately, I don't want to think about that day that Suso is either tired or gets injured, because this guy, when he's missing, we're going to need some replacement. Yes, we have Bonaventura on one side, but what do we have on the right side? Absolutely nothing. Not quite sure who could possibly replace him with our current squad. But we're going to need some solid backups. Like I was saying before, if they don't arrive in the winter, I'm hoping that they arrive in the summer, because we do need backups. Even if they're not stars at Milan, there's going to be times, especially when we get into Europe. Hopefully we do. I pray every day. But especially when we get 2 or 3 games a week when we're playing in Europe and you don't have those replacements, there's no way, and I can almost bank on it, there's 100% true, there's no way that Suso, a guy like Suso or Bonaventura, can play 2 to 3 games all season round, a week that is. There's no way that's going to happen, and we're going to need perfect backups to possibly replace those players in either league matches or Champions League matches or Europe matches. We're going to need backups, whatever the case is. That's for sure. Casey says Montolivo was given the armband by Galliani. That's why he's the captain. Other than that, it is tradition to go off seniority. I already stated that. Let's see if I could get another caller on the line. Like I said before, Carl's wanting to speak to me about something. So I'm going to give him a call. If he doesn't pick up, I'll continue with the comments in the comments section. So keep sending me your input on tonight's game between Milan and Torino. What did you make of it? I'm going to be staying on for another 5 to 10 minutes just so you guys could finish up your thoughts. So, alright, there's no answer from Carl, so I'm going to go on with your comments once again. Casey says, teams are going to catch on to Milan's dependency on Suso. It won't take long before he gets man-marked out of a game. I think teams already know the threat that Suso could really bring to the table. If you guys take a good look at that first half, yes, Torino was sitting back at some points, or at least they were defending, they were clogging. Every time Milan had an attack, they were really clogging the area. And Suso, not only were Milan players having difficulty to get the ball to Suso, but whenever he had the ball, there were always 2 or 3 guys, not allowing him to get across and not allowing him to play a great ball. He did get it on some points. I remember Lapadula didn't find the end product to that. but teams know the risk that Suso could impose on them. They know. He's just really capable and smart of marking himself from the opponents when it comes to defenders. He finds the right spaces. He knows where to move. He knows exactly the dribbles and skills he needs to do in order to generate the best possible chance for Milan. He's that smart of a player. But still, I'm going back to the fact that I said before, we're going to need a perfect backup, not only for Suso, but other players as well. We need backups to take these guys' positions whenever they're tired or injured, because we know we're doing well with Bonaventura and Suso on the wings. But what's going to happen the day that they cannot play and we have players like Honda, for example, or Niang being the options on the bench that could replace them? It's definitely not a nice sight to see, so we'll see what happens with that. But I'm hoping that we could see some improvements, at least in backups. I'm gonna answer one or two more questions. Marv Diaz says, Joe, do you think we should try Niang as a striker? His pace and dribbling could be a good attribute. I remember seeing Niang as a striker last season. I think it was last season, where he did play some games as a striker, and I definitely saw his qualities. I think he got a few goals playing in that position as well. Maybe, it could be an option for Montella. I mean, Bacca, yes, he scored last game, but we're going to need to see if he can build on that consistency and that continuity going on forward. Lapadula, he's going to be that super sub. Can Yang maybe get a start as a striker? I'm not quite sure. But we are getting another call in from Arshia, so I'm going to pick that one up. Let's see what he has to say. Hi, Arshia. How you doing, man?
Hey, man. What's up?
Not much. Happy about the result?
Oh, dude, I was so scared.
Definitely at halftime. I thought that we weren't going to be capable of coming back against Torino because, Torino's not a team like bottom of the table team that I'm pretty sure we can score 2 or 3 goals against. This is a team that's capable of, always bringing in the best, as they say. But today, we showed that we were stronger in that second half. Not too much in that first half. But overall, what did you make of the game?
Yeah, I mean, Torino, they've had a bad run of form, but, I mean, they're still a really good team, I think, at least. And my opinion, I think that, like Jeffrey said, we're a second half team, and that should really stop as soon as possible because we can't just keep doing that every game. One of these days we're gonna get one of those teams that are good defensively, like Atalanta. They were defending the whole game. If they would have got a game, I don't think we would have been able to break down that defense because we didn't start the game off that good. We gotta come out in the first half with the same hunger that we come out in the second half. But today, I don't know. I think we played really good in the second half, especially after the goal Kucka scored. We put on a lot of pressure on them, and we were attacking. And I think I saw the stats. We had 9 shots on target. None of them were off target. That was the first time I've seen that because our shots are usually not that good. So I think that was actually a pretty good thing. Actually getting our shots on target finally.
Yeah, we got a lot of shots on target. Some shots, were easier than others for Joe Hart. But yeah, overall, I was impressed. I'm really happy how we came back and won the match. Montela's done a very good job with this team. At the beginning of the season, the expectations for many weren't very high. And right now, he's been getting results on a consistent basis. He's been, giving Milan that winning mentality that they were missing for such a long time. What kind of... Do you see Montella being a coach really for the future of Milan, to stay here long term?
I really think so, because he's getting the best out of our squad that we have. Because if you look at it, we don't have world beaters in this team. Yeah, Suso has been doing really good this season, but no one was expecting him to do that good. It's a surprise.
Yeah.
And so we got pretty dang average players that are performing to the highest, the best that they can. And up until right before January, still people were saying, "Oh no, Milan is getting lucky," and that shows that like how much of it, like our squad isn't even that good. People were still thinking that we're getting lucky. So I think Montella deserves a lot of credit for what he's getting out of the squad. And yeah, I think we're performing pretty good. If we can keep going like this with a bunch of like good players, especially like in summer after the takeover,
Yeah.
I think he could be a really, really good coach. Like stay here for a couple of years at least.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if he's getting the best out of these players, just imagine what he could do with even better players. I completely agree with you on that. But yeah, definitely going back to the thing that many people were writing us off. We're putting in the performances on a weekly basis. We're getting the results that we deserve. We'll see how much longer we can go with this. I definitely hope it's gonna last until the end of the season. So far, we have done a tremendous job. I really cannot be dissatisfied with what I've seen from Milan, but it's really gonna it's really gonna show like what we could do with this team. I think by the end of February, if we're able to continue with our good form until the end of February, I think pretty much we can answer some questions as to whether we can make Champions League or the Europa League for that instance.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I'm so happy that we're finally like getting somewhere. I mean, we're not like first or second, but I think if we beat Torino in this upcoming game, we go back to third, and it's just so relieving because after a long time, like we've always been like down a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And it's just so good to see Milan winning finally.
Yeah, definitely. And I really hope this is the start of something positive, not only for this year, but for many, many years to go in the future. Thank you, Rashid, for calling in, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the streams again. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. All right, take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right, guys, that was the last caller for today. But like he said, I'm just so happy of how Milan has been improving. Not only for performance-wise, we've been getting the results. It's been lacking for a really long time. We're improving. I'm happy with what I'm seeing. And I definitely hope that we continue on this road. That's going to wrap it up for today's match review, guys. Once again, the final score, 2-1 for AC Milan against Torino. Goals scored by Kucka and Bonaventura for Milan. Belotti, the goal scorer for Torino. I would like to take this time for you guys to thank you guys really for joining me, not only on this match review stream, but also for the watch along. Lots of support from you guys. Thank you all for the new subscribers that just subscribed to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for making and giving me the opportunity to grow Rossoneri TV, the best AC Milan fan channel on YouTube, where you guys could talk about anything going on at AC Milan on a daily basis here on the channel. We got daily news live streams where we speak about the latest news going on in the transfer window, match previews, reviews, watch-alongs, and much, much more at Rossoneri TV. So on that note, thank you all for watching. This has been Gio, signing off, and as always, Forza Milan!